let's get back to important things. So Alan Dershowitz, the prominent attorney who once represented both Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump, is urging Congress to grant Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's longtime associate and convicted, full immunity in exchange for her testimony before lawmakers. Dershowitz argues Maxwell knows everything about Epstein's criminal enterprise and calls her the Rosetta Stone of the case, claiming such testimony could finally unravel key details about the financier's activities and connections with powerful figures.
Meeting Sandra just mentioned just wrapped up moments ago. Maxwell was escorted back to the prison from the courthouse in Tallahassee. Her attorney said they had a, quote, productive meeting with Blanche, but details of their talks still remain under wraps right now.
All right, Fox Team coverage is at the ready. Chief legal correspondent Shannon Bream is live here in New York City, standing by with analysis. But first, let's get to our justice correspondent, David Spunt. He's got the latest from Washington for us. So, David, what else did Maxwell's attorney say?
Well, he said a lot. We wish we could be in and hear what was said in the actual meeting. This meeting was a lot shorter than it was yesterday, but this was a two-day event. The highlight, though, it appears that her team wants a pardon. Watch.
We're going to take one day at a time. I know that's very cliche, but it's true because things are happening so quickly. We haven't spoken to the president or anybody about a pardon just yet. And you know, listen. The president this morning said he had the power to do so. We hope he exercises that power in the right and just way.
But the president leaving the White House today was asked directly about a pardon or commutation of Maxwell's sentence.
Would you consider a pardon or a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell? It's
something I haven't thought about. It's really something
recommended.
It's something I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought about.
Sandra, this all happened at the federal courthouse in Tallahassee, not far from where Maxwell is serving a 20-year prison sentence behind bars for trafficking. The DOJ not commenting on the meeting today. Legal experts question whether Maxwell told and will tell her version of the truth going forward, the actual truth. Now, the recent photos we have snapped by Fox News Digital show her on a run at that Tallahassee prison. We're still awaiting decisions from two federal judges in New York who will decide if they'll release grand jury transcripts from investigations involving both Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. A Florida judge from another of Epstein's criminal cases says her hands are tied, as anything to do with the grand jury in the American court system is typically kept close and secretive. But he said, when I say he, I'm talking about Maxwell's attorney, he said we haven't reached out to anybody or the president just yet on a pardon. Back to you.
Watch. Kevin Spacey says Bill Clinton flew on Jeffrey Epstein's jet with young girls during a Clinton Foundation trip to Africa. Spacey says Clinton's presence around the girls put him at risk. Oh, my God. Oh, my Lord. Oh. Again, I feel like these are breadcrumbs about what what the Ghislaine testimony will look like. There's a lot of infighting taking place right now.
Business leaders in London because he knew I was coming to the Old Vic. Do you know who I never asked for anything? Was Jeffrey Epstein. I didn't want to be around this guy because I felt he put the president at risk on that trip to South Africa because there were these young girls. And we were like, who is this guy? So I will say this.
There were young girls on those flights?
There were young girls on those flights, yeah. And that's been out. They've talked about it. But here's my point. There's a big difference between not remembering that I met some guy and some woman on a humanitarian trip where my focus was entirely on what we were there to do and not remembering whether I went to somebody's island. So I never went to Jeffrey Epstein's island. I did not know him, and I never saw him or her after that morning at Buckingham Palace. He didn't even come to Buckingham Palace.
Is it true that Prince Andrew sought your assistance and wanted you to testify that Ghislaine Maxwell was your guest, not his, during that Buckingham Palace tour?
I heard a report about that, but at no time did anyone ever contact me on.
Bro, Kevin Spacey coming out this comfortable is wild. Okay? Kevin Spacey's definitely on the list. Yeah, no shit he's on the list. What are you talking about? We know he is incredibly connected to both the Clintons and Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. We know that already. We also know that he was, there was a criminal trial that ended under mysterious circumstances, for the record. Like, he had criminal trials with minor victims that ended under mysterious circumstances separate from Jeffrey Epstein. He's soft launching his public image again. Piers ain't that big, but is big enough to check public opinion. Yeah. This is wild, man. Yeah, one of his accusers died. Another one actually rescinded their testimony after one of the accusers died.
On his behalf. And as I say, I'm not friends with him. I never saw him after that day.
What do you think about what's happened to him?
I mean, I don't know anything about it.
He's 3 of his accusers died in the same year. Ari Ben dies at 47, marking 3rd death this year of Kevin Spacey accusers. Author Ari Ben has died, marking the 3rd passing in 2019 of a person who publicly accused actor Kevin Spacey of sexual misconduct or assault. The 47-year-old, who was previously married to Norwegian princess Martha Louise, died by on Christmas Day. Family spokesman Geir Hasan told CNN, "It is with great sadness in our hearts that we, the very close relatives of Ari Ben, must announce that he took his own life today," the statement read. "We ask for respect for our privacy at this time to come." Fantano called you old and to listen to the new Freddie Gibbs? Sure. His death comes 2 years after he spoke openly on a Norwegian radio station about an alleged encounter with Spacey that transpired when the actor had hosted a Nobel Prize concert. "I have a little Me Too story about Kevin Spacey," Ben said, becoming one of the 15 individuals to come forward with disturbing claims about Spacey. "We were having a nice chat where we spoke about theater and drama in the Little Theater, The Wick, a theater in London. We had a good conversation sitting beside each other. After 5 minutes, he said, 'Hey, let's go out and have a cigarette.' Then he grabbed me under the table right in the balls." Drama bait? I mean, considering that Tim Heidecker is the man, and I have already collaborated with Office Hours in the past, and Tim Heidecker in the past, I'm sure it's fine. She was shaming DJ Doug Pound for attending the anti-genocide event that you're going to be at. Oh no, it was an anti-ICE event. Yeah, no, these guys have the right interest in mind. These supposedly liberal people that are so obsessed with their favorite content creator that they're like, hey, you should not participate in a anti-ICE fundraiser that this person is going to be at, because my favorite content creator who doesn't actually fucking care about any politics has decided that this person is evil. She basically said you're a misogynist and listed 4 people who wouldn't call you a misogynist. Oh, nice. So exactly as I suspected. That's my favorite type of hater that says like, no, I'm truly progressive. I'm truly progressive. Here are some other people that I like that also like Hasan. But those people actually would hate Hasan. All right, let's get back to important things. So Alan Dershowitz, the prominent attorney who once represented both Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump, is urging Congress to grant Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's longtime associate and convicted, full immunity in exchange for her testimony before lawmakers. Dershowitz argues Maxwell knows everything about Epstein's criminal enterprise and calls her the Rosetta Stone of the case, claiming such testimony could finally unravel key details about the financier's activities and connections with powerful figures. If Alan Dershowitz, who was incredibly connected to Jeffrey Epstein, who was Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer, who famously and very notoriously has actively been in legal trouble with other Jeffrey Epstein victims that have directly outed him, okay? If he's saying Ghislaine Maxwell has reliable testimony and is the Rosetta Stone here, just know, considering that he is compromised, he knows for a fucking fact that Ghislaine Maxwell is not going to reveal any new information. And as a matter of fact, I suspect that that testimony will hold very little weight.
Treated unfairly for over 5 years now. If you looked up scapegoat in the dictionary, her face would be next to the definition, next to the dictionary definition of it. So, we're grateful.
Are they going to pay her for incorrect information? I mean, it's not like a direct payment. The payment is going to instead be sentence commutation.
So, it's unbelievable that she can keep her spirits up this high, and we're proud of her. We just asked that folks.
I think the fact that she is one of the primary facilitators, and she is the only known major conspirator that hasn't died in prison under mysterious circumstances, is evidence enough. At least, I'm speculating, but it's already suspicious enough. Don't say yet. I don't think this is a yet situation. I think what she will reveal will be, I guess, shocking enough for people to pay attention to, but not so shocking that it's like implicating other incredibly powerful individuals, because it won't be revealing the real meat and potatoes of this case. Do you see what I mean? The very fact that she's still very much alive and in prison implies that people know that she is playing ball. If you consider Jeffrey Epstein dying under mysterious circumstances and not actually committing suicide, or Jean-Luc Purnell dying in prison also under mysterious circumstances that they called suicide, implies that she is known to play ball.
Look at what she has to say with an open mind, and that's what Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche has promised us. And everything she says can be corroborated, and she's telling the truth. She's got no reason to lie at this point, and she's going to keep telling the truth.
Yeah, she's so fearless.
And we're finished after...
She's so fearless. She's such a girl boss. I like using girl boss terminology when talking about a convicted sex trafficker of minors who was also a convicted rapist as well. A rapist, sex trafficker of minors. And this guy's like a real girl boss, real brave of her. Hashtag free spirit.
All day yesterday and today, Ghislaine answered every single question asked of her over the last day and a half. She answered those questions honestly, truthfully, to the best of her ability. She never invoked a privilege. She never refused to answer a question. So we're very proud of her. We're proud of how the process has worked over the past day and a half. I will say this, she has been treated unfairly for the past 5 years. She didn't get a fair trial. We're still appealing to the Supreme Court. We're going to be filing a reply in the Supreme Court on her cert petition on Monday. Remember, people have questioned her honesty, which I think is just wrong. Remember, a juror lied to get onto the jury, admitted to lying to get onto her jury. She did not get a fair trial. No prosecutor even mentioned her until Epstein died. So we feel that the process for Ghislaine has...
Oh, that Kevin Spacey clip happened last year? The one that we just watched? Oh my God, that's from last year. I mean, a lot of the Ghislaine... A lot of the Ghislaine prison interviews, also on the Piers Morgan show, did happen last year as well. It's crazy, dude. I don't know what to say, man. This shit is actually insane. What an insane conflict of fucking interest here, dude. Like, this is like, I cannot. Like, you have an administration that is like actively seeking to cover up all of the investigation's details, and using Ghislaine Maxwell as the primary testifier, and she has all the power and all the interest in seeking clemency, seeking a pardon, and her freedom from an administration that is known to engage in quid pro quo, is hanging on her testimony. She has literally every reason to lie.
Been unfair. She was denied bail. She was treated worse than an animal would be treated in jail when she was first held, woken up every 15 minutes. So we're just trying to get through the process where we are now and get her some relief. So that's where we are today.
Do you feel like you're going to get some relief after all the conversations you've been having the last couple of days?
We don't know. We don't know how it's going to play out. We just know that this was the first opportunity she's ever been given to answer questions about what happened. And so the truth will come out about what happened with Mr. Epstein, and she's the person who's answering those questions. We don't think this will affect her appeal. We're appealing on a very important ground, which is the government at the time promised Jeffrey Epstein that any potential co-conspirators would not be prosecuted. And so she deserves that promise. And I'm surprised. I don't think President Trump knows that the Justice Department took the position that that promise should not be upheld. President Trump is the ultimate deal maker. He knows that a promise made on behalf of the government should bind the government. And so we're hoping the Supreme Court agrees with us that when the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of Florida promised that no potential co-conspirators would be prosecuted, that bound
the Southern District of New York as well.
We're getting new details about the now infamous birthday book given to Jeffrey Epstein for his 50th. The Wall Street Journal has new reporting about the contributors, which it says include not only Trump, but former President Bill Clinton, Wall Street billionaires, and other prominent celebrities. Clinton declined to comment, but said in 2019 that he knew of nothing of Epstein's crimes and had not spoken to him in more than a decade. And the New York Times reports that President Trump had signed another admiring note to Epstein in a copy of Trump's book, The Art of the Comeback, dated October of '97, writing, "You are the greatest." NBC News has not independently verified either of those reports. Joining me now, the reporter who broke that story, David Enrich, who is deputy investigations editor for the New York Times. David, the White House has acknowledged that in 1997, Trump and Epstein still had a relationship, but has called reports that Trump participated in that birthday book fake. So walk us through your new reporting.
Well, it confirms that Trump contributed to the birthday book. And I can't, it's pretty simple, really. And Trump has been denying and downplaying the extent of his relationship with Epstein for a while now, and every new bit of reporting we've done and that some of our competitors have done as well suggests that what we've known for a long time is true, which is that Epstein and Trump were quite close in the 90s and into the early 2000s.
Does it seem at all likely, as some people have speculated, for example, that Donald Trump said, yeah, go ahead, put a page in for me, or that he really didn't know even that there was a birthday book? What do we absolutely know about this book? And by the way, where is it right now?
Well, the birthday book is, our understanding, is in the possession of Jeffrey Epstein's estate, which is being controlled by some of his former lawyers and advisors. I think it's possible with Trump's submission to the birthday book that someone else prepared it for him and he signed his name. And I don't know that that's the case, but I think that is plausible. But I also think that it is very unlikely that Trump himself didn't sign the book and or wasn't aware that it was being prepared on his behalf. Again, Trump and Epstein, by all appearances, were close friends, or were quite friendly, I should say, and spent a lot of time together.
Yeah, we have seen over the course of days more video, right? More pictures of them together. There's no question about the fact that they had a friendship. And Donald Trump essentially acknowledged that when he said, you know, we were friends, but we had a falling out, right? The question of, though, contributing to this book, is that something potentially Ghislaine?
Yeah, that motherfucker didn't just say happy birthday. He said we both got secrets that we have to hide. A friend is a beautiful thing. He didn't just say happy birthday, okay? I'm sorry. That wasn't just a happy birthday, King note, okay? It was far beyond, above and beyond the happiest of birthdays. He said enigmas never age. And he fucking doodled it. At first, I was on team Trump doesn't doodle. That doesn't sound like him. And then it came out that he does, as a matter of fact, doodle quite a lot. And after that, I was like, okay, maybe he definitely doodled that shit too. He is a major doodler. He loves doodling. And perhaps diddling as well.
Maxwell might be able to clear up in her conversations that she had up until 12:30 this afternoon and all day yesterday with Todd Blanche.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Ghislaine Maxwell is the one who put this book together. I think she is the holder of a lot of information and a lot of secrets about Epstein's relationship with quite a few powerful people, including Donald Trump. But again, I don't think there's really any dispute that, and I know Trump is denying it, but I do not think there's any dispute among people who have studied this and looked into the facts and done reporting that Trump did submit to the birthday book. That does not mean that Trump had an improper relationship with Epstein or knew about Epstein's crimes. It just means, again, what we have known for a long time, which is that Epstein and Trump were pals in the 90s and early 2000s. And what's notable to me is the degree to which Trump is denying this and the ferocity with which he's denying it. And that has surprised me. And I think that it suggests something about his sensitivity to this stuff. And it makes me wonder what else there is to know that has got his guard up so ferociously here.
Again, because, frankly, being friends with him or being mentioned in what we're now calling the Epstein files is no proof of wrongdoing. So, David Enrich, I have a feeling you're going to be doing more reporting, and we may have you back on the show at another time. But some great reporting so far. Thank you.
Wall Street Journal, Epstein's birthday album. Also, there's additional details from Wall Street Journal. Epstein's birthday album included letters from Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and others. This is it. Jeffrey Epstein's birthday album included letters from Bill Clinton and also disgraced financier Leon Black. Now, we've talked about Leon Black a little bit. And the reason why we talked about Leon Black was because like the only thing that Leon Black is known for is being a Jeffrey Epstein affiliate with his own allegations of sexual misconduct. Lots of different sources using Bill Clinton's name front and center. Everyone's soft launching. Former president, Wall Street billionaire were listed along with Donald Trump as friends in the 2003 book's table of contents, which named around 6 contributors. The biggest name was a past president rather than a future one. Epstein's former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, was keen for Bill Clinton and other bold-faced names to submit letters for the special gift, according to people involved in putting it together. In the end, she was successful. The leather-bound album, assembled before Epstein, was first arrested in 2006 and included a page with a single paragraph in Clinton's distinctive scrawl. It's reassuring, isn't it, to have lasted as long across all the years of learning and knowing, adventures and illegible word. Don't know what the illegible word is. And also to have your childlike curiosity, the drive to make a difference, and the solace of friends. First of all, why is every former president writing like this to Jeffrey Epstein? They all use a very similar language. Also, childlike curiosity it's extra strange. A spokesman for Clinton declined to comment on the birthday message, which was reviewed by the Journal. He referred to the Journal to a previous statement that the former president had cut ties more than a decade before Epstein was arrested in 2019 and didn't know about Epstein's alleged crimes. Except you were walking your daughter, Chelsea Clinton, down the aisle as Ghislaine Maxwell was standing right there. And that was after you had, quote unquote, cut ties with Jeffrey Epstein. So maybe some ties were not cut. The former president was among around 6 people, including Donald Trump, Wall Street billionaire Leon Black, fashion designer Vera Wang, and media owner Mort Zuckerman, who ended up in the letters in the 2003 book, according to documents reviewed by the Wall Street Journal. Yep. The Dersh is, of course, also on there. The letter bearing Trump's signature, which had the outline of a naked woman, was one of the more memorable pages, according to the people involved in putting the album together. Trump has called the letter a fake thing. The professionally bound birthday book had multiple volumes and included a table of contents that listed the contributions organized into groups. While many letter writers weren't famous, some categories held notable people. Clinton and Trump were listed under the Friends group, along with about 20 other associates such as Leon Black, Zuckerman, former Victoria's Secret leader Leslie Wexner, attorney Alan Dershowitz, and the late Jean-Luc Brunel, who ran a modeling agency. Jean-Luc Brunel, also literally arrested for sex trafficking of minors, who died in prison under mysterious circumstances. He wasn't just the guy who ran a modeling agency. Leslie Wexner is literally almost entirely responsible for Jeffrey Epstein's fortune, gave Jeffrey Epstein power of attorney, gave Jeffrey Epstein the New York mansion that he used. Okay? Alan Dershowitz was Jeffrey Epstein's friend and also was one of the named perpetrators by Virginia Giuffre, one of the most notorious of victims of Jeffrey Epstein, and Alan Dershowitz as well. Jean-Luc Brunel, like I said, ran numerous modeling agencies and used those modeling agencies as a way to find new victims for Jeffrey Epstein, and was arrested for sex trafficking minors in his involvement with Jeffrey Epstein when he died under mysterious circumstances in prison. So these aren't just like regular guys. A business group included the late Alan Ace Greenberg and the late James Jimmy Kane. Both men worked at Bear Stearns, where Epstein was the investment banker. Was at the investment bank in the 1970s. Other people were grouped under categories such as science, Brooklyn, and family. Some of the messages were anodyne birthday wishes, but others were bawdy and made crude jokes about sex, according to the documents reviewed by the Journal. A letter from Nathan Myhrvold, a billionaire and former Microsoft executive, said he was sending photos from a recent trip to Africa. They seem more appropriate than anything I could put into words, said the letter, which ended with a typed Nathan. It was followed by photos of monkeys screaming, lions and zebras mating, and a zebra with its penis visible. What the fuck? Yeah, Ghislaine Maxwell got granted limited immunity by the Trump Justice Department. This is limited immunity for revealing details about other for the interview process. Chat. This isn't like additional immunity. Yeah, this is just that. This is just a rehashing of something we covered earlier today. Now, it's interesting that Trump is named alongside co-conspirators that we know are co-conspirators under the friend category. So just want to point that out. The friend category is the meat here, okay? Clinton and Trump were listed in the friends group. And I told you already the extent of the involvement of others in the friend group in this birthday book. Okay? A spokesman for Mirwald said he doesn't recall the submission and that he's a wildlife photographer who regularly shares photos and writes about animal behavior. The spokeswoman for Mirwald only knew Epstein because he attended TED conferences and was a donor to scientific research. The submission with Black's name had a handwritten poem and a rhyme scheme. The poem included acronym WFPC with an asterisk that said that it stood for Vanity Fair Poster Child, a reference to a magazine profile of Epstein that was in the works. 2 lines in the poem read, blonde, red, or brunette, spread out geographically. With this net of fish, Jeff's now the old man and the sea. It was signed Love and Kisses, Leon. Leon Black, the co-founder of Apollo Global Management, who, of course, a spokesman for Black, declined to comment on the letter. Black has said he met Epstein around 1996 and paid him for tax and real estate planning. Weird. Like, this guy is a finance guy himself. Why the fuck does he need Jeffrey Epstein's advice? He couldn't find other people to get tax advice from and real estate planning advice from? What is Jeffrey Epstein's real estate advice going to be? Hey, become friends with Les Wexner. And then Les Wexner will give you power of attorney and also will give you a fucking $30 million mansion for free. Wow, incredible advice. Thank you, sir. Yeah, Leon Black agreed to pay $62.5 million to settle Epstein-related claims, by the way. The private equity mogul struck a deal with the U.S. Virgin Islands to avoid a potential lawsuit over his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. This was back in 2023. The billionaire investor Leon Black agreed to pay $62.5 million to the U.S. Virgin Islands in January to be released from any potential claims arising out of the territory's 3-year investigation into the sex trafficking operation of the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein, according to a copy of the settlement agreement. How the fuck do you settle with the U.S. Virgin Islands? Isn't that literally a criminal investigation? Like, what is this? You could just be like, hey, I'm giving you $1 billion. I'm giving $100 million to the Department of Justice. Please stop looking into my involvement with a notorious pedophile sex trafficker. That is crazy. Yeah, Black resigned from both Apollo Global Management and the Museum of Modern Art in the wake of sexual misconduct allegations. The previously undisclosed settlement came after the Virgin Islands reached a $105 million deal in November with Mr. Epstein's estate. The next month, the territory sued JP Morgan and Chase in federal court over the bank's 15-year relationship. A registered sex offender who killed himself in Manhattan jail in 2019. Killed himself, sure. The Virgin Islands government produced this settlement agreement with Mr. Black in response to a public records request by the New York Times. In January, representatives of the two parties held a private mediation session to settle claims, according to another document reviewed by the Times. The $62.5 million settlement followed that session. Mr. Black agreed to pay in cash, according to the settlement document. The settlement shows the extent to which Mr. Black, once a titan of the private equity industry, has gone to limit scrutiny of his decades-long social and business ties to Mr. Epstein. This is wild, Spacey. Oh, yeah, he does Frank Underwood threats. Yes. Yes, I remember this. This was when he was... In 2018, numerous victims of Kevin Spacey came out about his sexual misconduct. In 2019, 3 of them died. I believe by 2020, all of the cases had ended either because the victims had died or because they had rescinded their testimony after 3 of the alleged victims had died. This is before any of them died. He made this video.
I know what you want. Oh, sure, they may have tried to separate us, but what we have is too strong. It's too powerful. I mean, after all, we shared everything, you and I. I told you my deepest, darkest secrets. I showed you exactly what people are capable of. I shocked you with my honesty, but mostly I challenged you and made you think, and you trusted me. even though you knew you shouldn't. So we're not done, no matter what anyone says. And besides, I know what you want. You want me back. Of course, some believed everything and had just been waiting with bated breath to hear me confess it all. They're just dying to have me declare that everything said is true and that I got what I deserved. Wouldn't that be easy if it was all so simple? Only you and I both know it's never that simple, not in politics and not in life. But you wouldn't believe the worst without evidence, would you? You wouldn't rush to judgments without facts, would you?
No, this is not his natural speaking voice. He's playing Frank Underwood from the Netflix series House of Cards. This is after he was already off the show. And he's playing that character while alluding to this is after victims had already come out. Okay? And then his first response was to come out and be like, I'm gay, by the way. Like, that was supposed to be the big revelation that, I guess, takes some of the attention away from him. I don't know. But he was like, I'm gay, by the way. Oh, these people are saying I'm a sex criminal. Well, guess what? I'm gay. And then he did this video on Christmas Day, yes, playing the role of his former Netflix show, House of Cards, Frank Underwood, the president who, like, notoriously does murders and stuff personally, and then hides the murders that he does. And he's like cutting some Christmas ham or something. And he has a mug there that is the 1953 like coronation mug. Like, I think he's like doing a shout out to the royal family here as well. This was his I'm gonna kill my accuser video, which ended up, his accusers did end up dying, by the way.
Did you? No, not you. You're smarter than that. Anyway, all this presumption made for such an unsatisfying ending, and to think it could have been such a memorable send-off. I mean, if you and I have learned nothing else these past years, it's that in life and art, nothing should be off the table. We weren't afraid, not of what we said and not of what we did, and we're still not afraid, because I can promise you this. If I didn't pay the price for the things we both know I did do, I'm certainly not going to pay the price for the things I didn't do. Oh, of course, they're going to say I'm being disrespectful, not playing by the rules, like I ever played by anyone's rules before. I never did, and you loved it. Anyhow, despite all the poppycock, the animosity, the headlines, the impeachment without a trial, despite everything, despite even my own death, I feel surprisingly good. And my confidence grows each day that soon enough you...
Look, that is a mug, there's a coronation mug. Kevin Spacey will be arraigned on a charge of felony sexual assault next month. Michael O'Keefe, the Cape and Islands District Attorney in Massachusetts, tells the Boston Globe that Spacey will appear January 7th at Nantucket District Court. The charge stems from an incident that occurred on the island back in 2016. The victim's mother, Heather Unruh, said last year that Spacey repeatedly stuck his hand down the pants of her 18-year-old son. The boy was eventually able to get away when the woman walked over to him while the actor was in the bathroom and said, "Run." At the time, Spacey was trying to convince the boy to join him at a party, said Unruh, who now hopes to find the mystery woman who she believes saved her son from a far worse fate. Anyway, but yeah, Mr. Black, Leon Black, 71, was forced to step down in early 2021 as chairman and executive of Apollo Global Management, the giant private equity firm he co-founded in 1990. A major art collector who made news for his $120 million purchase of a version of Edvard Munch's The Scream. Mr. Black also stepped down as chairman of the Museum of Modern Art in New York. The 4-page settlement said nothing in it should be construed as an admission of liability by Mr. Black. Benicia H. Velasquez, a lawyer with the Virgin Islands Attorney General's office, which negotiated the settlement, said, "For the past several years, the Virgin Islands Department of Justice has made it a priority to support human trafficking victims and to enforce the law to prevent and deter human trafficking. Except for the fact that you can, I guess, like, buy your innocence. Like it's a fucking civil claim or something. Like it's just like doesn't make any sense. It is pretty crazy. Yes, I know Ghislaine has been offered limited immunity. I don't think this is new information. Ghislaine Maxwell granted limited immunity by Trump Justice Department. I think this is the same one, right? Yeah. This is the same one as the proffer. The so-called proffer immunity is commonly granted to individuals, prosecutors seeking to make cooperators in a criminal case. That's the extent of the limited immunity that she's getting. It's just for her revelations. You understand? Let's get rid of taxes and let the billionaires pay for their crimes they're not getting charged with. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Anyway.
Breaking moments ago, new reporting from the Wall Street Journal sheds more light on that book Ghislaine Maxwell compiled for Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday in 2003. The book that contained a letter bearing Trump's signature and had the outline of a naked woman. The Journal now has details of other letters in that book, including former President Bill Clinton, Wall Street billionaire Leon Black, fashion designer Vera Wang, and media owner Mort Zuckerman. That's according to documents reviewed by the Wall Street Journal. More from the Journal's reporting. The professionally bound birthday book had multiple volumes and included a table of contents.
Happy birthday, King. Why are you not celebrating? This is what I love doing. Okay? I love streaming. I love covering the news. Why would I do anything but what I love to do, that I'm fortunate enough to do every single day on my birthday as well?
Listed the contributions organized into groups. While many writers weren't famous, some categories had notable people. Clinton and Trump were listed under the Friends group, along with about 20 other associates, such as Black, Zuckerman, former Victoria's Secret leader Leslie Wexner, attorney Alan Dershowitz, and the late Jean-Luc Brunel, who ran a modeling agency. Now, we should note, NBC News has not seen or verified these materials. A spokesman for Clinton declined to comment on the birthday message, which was reviewed by the Journal. He referred the Journal to a previous statement that the former president had cut off ties more than a decade before Epstein was arrested in 2019. Didn't know about Epstein's alleged crimes. Black, Zuckerman, and Wang all declined to comment to the Journal.